Warning: contains adult content including harsh language, violence, and sexual themes, and may not be suitable for people under age 17.
Kodo couldn't see anything but black as he sobbed, his entire body aching, tense, and trembling uncontrollably. He heard distant shouting and thought he felt his body being grabbed and pulled. He fought the invisible force he wasn't even sure was there. He was speaking, but didn't hear his words. There was a sudden ringing in his ears. He felt himself plunge into a sea of icy water, and his body went numb. Kodo opened his eyes, looking around, still in a panic. Mina was staring at him with terror in her eyes. He realized that he was in the bathtub, submerged in cold water, and Mina was kneeling next to him. His breathing started to slow, and he felt his heartbeat go back to normal. What happened? Kodo asked, his words slurred slightly. I don't know, said Mina in a worried voice. I came home and you were on the floor, writhing. I think you were having a seizure. Kodo leaned his head against the wall and stared at the ceiling. This water is cold, he said bluntly. Your whole body felt like it was on fire, said Mina, furrowing her brow. I didn't know what else to do. I thought you would die. Kodo met her gaze. His eyes burned with tiredness. You look awful, she whispered. You're pale, and you have shadows under your eyes. Have you been eating today? Wasn't hungry, Kodo replied. Mina sighed, scooping some of the water from the cold bath and pouring it over his head. Kodo flinched, but knew she was only trying to cool down his head, which was still throbbing. Mina. Yes? Have you ever been so addicted to something you started having weird and frightening symptoms? Mina thought and then nodded. Caffeine, she said simply. Kodo blinked. In high school, I was sick for almost 2 weeks with unexplainable headaches and nausea. Turns out it was because I had stopped drinking coffee at the beginning of that month because I felt it was making me jittery. I guess stopping cold turkey can really harm you. Kodo thought about this, drowned in sadness. All right, he said. Why? Do you think this is all caused by an addiction you have? Mina gasped. You don't use drugs, do you? Kodo laughed, but winced and held his head. Of course not, he replied. That would be stupid. Well, what is it then? She asked. It's nothing, I was just curious. Maybe I have some addiction I'm not aware of. Do you need sex again? Mina asked with a smile. Kodo sat up slightly. What? He said with a laugh. Do you really think I'm in the condition? It might make you feel better, she played. Seeing my naked body laying in a freezing cold bathtub because I had a seizure got you hot, huh? Said Kodo smartly, and Mina glared. No, I just was thinking of you. She hung her head, looking defeated. Kodo stroked her hair gently. Hey, he said. I was only teasing. If my temperature has gone down, I will get out of this tub and please you in any way you wish. No, she said sharply. It's not about me. It's about you. I want you to tell me what you want. I want to please you. Kodo smiled gently, caressing her cheek, and succeeded in dripping water down her face. Then get me a towel, go to your room, and take your clothes off. Mina blushed scarlet, immediately grabbing him a towel and setting it on the toilet seat. She then ran out of the bathroom. Kodo smiled, shaking his head. He blinked. His headache was gone. Mina, Kodo whispered, shaking the sleeping girl beside him. It was morning, and he had the most wonderful sleep. Mina opened her eyes, squinting in the sunlight that was shining through the window. Good morning, lovely. Morning, she said sleepily. How are you up before me? What time is it? I, just remembered something, he said slowly, and Mina looked at him with an odd expression. Today is October 3rd, right? Yes, it is, Mina replied. Why? Kodo stared at the blankets, feeling numb. Today is my birthday, he mumbled. Mina gasped. What? She exclaimed. Why didn't you tell me? I forgot. I haven't really celebrated it in a few years, you know. Mina jumped out of bed, running to her dresser and searching through the drawers. We have to get ready. We have to celebrate. I need to make food and bake a cake and decorate and... Koto had walked up behind her while she was rambling and hugged her around the waist. Mina, you have work today, he reminded her. I don't need anything special. Just bring me another cake from the bakery, okay? I want to get you a present, said Mina in a hushed voice. Then come home with a bow on your head, Koto said with a laugh. You and a chocolate cake will make my birthday absolutely perfect. Mina giggled, turning to face him and hugging him tightly. Of course, standing here and gazing at your beautiful body is good enough too. He received a light tap on the cheek. I have to go to work, remember? She said tantalizingly. You can gaze later. She started getting dressed, and Koto pulled on some pants. After she was done, Mina turned to look at him, worry etched all over her face. Koto, she started. I'm worried you'll have another seizure and I won't be here in time to save you. I think I'll be fine, Koto reassured her. I mean, I feel fine right now. All right then, she nodded, and Koto followed her out of the bedroom. Well, I'm leaving the number to the bakery by the phone in case of an emergency. Call me if you need me, all right? Fine, said Koto, crossing his arms. Don't give me that, she tapped him on the head. Be good, okay? Eat, sleep, do what you need to do. Do what you need to do, repeated the voice in his head. Before he could respond to Mina, she had left. He went over and sat in the corner. I'm okay, he said to himself. I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm okay. He repeated these words to himself for nearly an hour, at which point he began absent-mindedly hitting his head against the wall. I'm okay, I'm okay, I'm okay, I'm okay, I'm okay, I'm okay, he mumbled quickly under his breath. You're pathetic, said the voice. Another hour went by, and Koto had turned the television on. He was watching a channel that had nothing but static. His head was tilted as he sat much too close to the screen, as if searching for a pixel that was different than the others. Round and round to the houses we go, the voice started singing. Where we'll stop, we'll never know. We'll pop right in, surprise, surprise. We'll chop them up and pull out their eyes. Hour after hour, Koto got worse. He started chewing on a tube of toothpaste, searched the carpet for the little people living in it, and even thought Haku had spoken to him. The voice in his head continued to sing softly to him, and then started talking again. You're not well, you know, it said. You're sick. The only way to make it better would be to kill. No, Koto breathed, wringing his hands. Killing eases the pain, Koto. You can't live like this, having panic attacks and seizures whenever you're left alone. I'll get through it, and then I won't need to kill anymore. You can't. You're not strong enough. Yes, I am. 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 As he repeated these words, the voice repeated, No, you're not. No, you're not. No, you're not. The room was spinning, and Koto was holding his head, trying to convince himself he could contain himself, but the voice in his head amplified, and he couldn't even hear himself speaking. He screamed, panting and staring at the floor, the voice in his head silent. He felt like himself again. For a second, he thought he had overcome the urge to kill. A second too late, however, he grinned, pulling himself to his feet and grabbing his knife from the bathroom. He threw on a shirt and his jacket, put on his shoes, and left the apartment. Koto's eyes searched the area, looking for the perfect place. His thirst had never been so great. He wanted something big, something to excite him. And then he found it. There was a small building off to the side of the market where events and gatherings were held. Inside, Koto saw around 12 people laughing and moving about the room, all dressed formally and mingling with each other. A second later, Koto was gone. Inside the building, there was music and laughter. Men, women, and children of all ages were dancing around, having the time of their lives. One man had just told a hilarious joke to a group of friends, who were now crying with mirth. Suddenly, the music stopped, and the lights went out. "Hey!" someone shouted. "What's going on? Turn the lights back on! Mommy, what's happening?" Suddenly, everyone's attention was turned on an unfamiliar silhouette standing by the door, a knife in his hand. The entire room was silent as the shadow approached them, dimly lit by the cloudy sky outside. The room was buzzing with whispers, but nobody moved. Kodo stopped and looked around at them all. "Nice party," he said calmly. "You know, today's my birthday. I'd like to join the fun." He grinned at their perplexed and terrified expressions. "Let the fun begin." There were screams and confusion as bodies were torn apart, blood splattering the walls. People were running around trying to get away, their feet splashing in pools of blood on the floor. Kodo didn't miss a single person, cutting throats, slicing limbs, and tearing out organs. He laughed maniacally as each person dropped to the floor in a crumpled, bloody heap. He stood in the middle of the room, staring around at his handiwork. He looked at his hands, grimaced, and dipped them into a punch bowl, and finally shaking them dry. He put the knife back into his pocket and strode out of the building. Across the street, he walked over to the shops. He found an ice cream vendor. He stood there staring at the menu and finally chose a strawberry cone. He paid for it with the money in his pocket and began walking home. As he walked, police cars rushed past him towards the building, their sirens wailing. And Kodo licked his ice cream, grinning to himself. Kodo got home about 5 minutes before Mina did. He realized that he still smelt of blood and sweat and decided to take a shower. He stuck his knife in the crevice, got undressed, turned on the water, and got in. He heard the front door open and her beautiful voice called for him. "In the shower," he called, washing his hair. The bathroom door opened and she peeked around the curtain, smiling at him. Kodo grinned, pretending to cover himself. "Excuse me, kind of naked here." "Oh, shut up," Mina giggled. "Are you feeling better?" Kodo smirked. "Much better," he replied softly, kissing her lightly. "I must have just had a bug or something." "Want me to join you?" she cooed, running her fingers down his chest. "I'd love you to," Kodo replied, "but I'm actually almost done. We shouldn't waste water." Mina pouted, but nodded in agreement. "Well, hurry up," she demanded. "I got a candle for your cake, and I want to light it." Kodo smiled and nodded as she went back to the living room. He shut off the water and got out, drying himself quickly. He pulled his pants back on and joined Mina in the living room, where she had turned on the news. He came up behind her and firmly gripped her backside. She squeaked and giggled, softly pushing him away. "Kodo!" He took her in his arms, kissing her neck. "I want you now." Mina laughed, her face turning red. "Why are you so frisky?" she giggled, trying, but not too hard, to pull away from him. "I want you. I need you. Right now," Kodo persisted, gripping her thigh and pushing her against the wall. Their eyes met for an instant, and Mina saw the hunger in his intense stare. She smiled softly. "It can wait," she whispered. "Right now, it's time for cake." Kodo looked disappointed, but he pulled away all the same. He sat on the floor, watching her with a smile. She turned to the television. "I guess the murderer didn't strike yesterday either," she said, looking back at him. "I didn't watch the news because I was taking care of you, but my coworkers were telling me about it. They think he's actually stopped, or maybe got killed or something." "Wouldn't they have found the body?" asked Kodo, trying not to smile too much. Mina shrugged. "Not if it's somewhere no one can find it," she replied. She scanned him, biting her lip. "Yes?" asked Kodo with a chuckle. "You," she breathed softly, "are so freaking hot." Kodo laughed, slicking the side of his wet hair back with his hand. "Come on," he said, but he felt elated. How can a previously homeless man be that attractive? "You were blessed," Mina replied simply. And all that running you may have done, or what else you may have done while living on the streets, well, it gave you some muscle. Even more now that you've been living with me and eating regularly again." "I suppose you're right," he said with a smile, feeling his very firm abdomen. He knew where his muscle came from. "I guess I can't deny that all of this was worth it." "But you said it could wait, remember?" Mina giggled again. I know. She took the fold-out table and set it up, and then she pulled the small cake, big enough for 2 people, out of its box. She placed it on a plate in the center of the table and proceeded to sticking one lone red candle in the middle. She lit it and sat down. "Happy birthday, Kodo," she said, showing him her beautiful smile. "Make a wish."